Hey, so who did you go to vote for in 2020? Any of you out there vote for Ron Klain, Anita Dunn, Robert Bauer, the personal attorney for Barack Obama? What about Steve Ricchetti, the former counselor to President Biden? Maybe Jill Biden. What about the crackhead Hunter Biden? Any of you vote for them in 2020? We are witnessing the biggest, or we have witnessed the biggest deep state scandal in American history. And Americans aren't talking about it. I don't know why. We didn't elect them. We don't have an administrative state. We should know who we should hold accountable for running the White House. Who was running the White House? Who's responsible for Afghanistan? Who's responsible for the open borders? These are things that inquiring minds like myself would like to know. And this needs to be investigated. People need to be prosecuted. People need to be handcuffed. People need to lose their livelihoods. I don't understand why Republicans aren't dragging these people in already. This is absolutely maddening. Why do we want to do this now? So that it doesn't happen again. This is a government of, for, and by the people. And if an Autopen, if an administrative state can run this country, you don't have a country. You're listening to the Carl Jackson Show. This is your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Guys, I want to talk about the Autopen. Who made the decision? Who made the decision to sit back while Russia decided to invade Ukraine? Who made the decision of these COVID lockdowns, COVID loans, PPP loans? Who were making the decisions? Biden came out today. Well, Jill Biden came out on Biden's behalf and said that, listen, he was responsible for all the decisions made in the White House. We know that's a lie. These people continue to gaslight us. Have you guys heard the latest on Karine Jean-Pierre? This is Gabe's ex-girlfriend, so I got to be careful so he doesn't get mad. But have you heard the latest with Karine Jean-Pierre? She's out with a book. Oh, Michelle Obama is coming out with another book on stylish, something about her style or something like that. I guess the clothes she wore or some nonsense like that. I mean, this is absolutely insane. We were gaslit. We were gaslit for 4 years. We knew they were lying. You got people out there shamelessly like Alex Thompson and Jake Tapper taking credit for uncovering a cover up when they were part of the cover up. And I want some answers. I want some answers. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre. If we could go to cut number 24, you guys know she's out with a book. This is cut number 24. Let's roll this, Gabe.
It would be wrong to think that the border is open. It is not open.
Top 5 recent lies. President Biden has visited the border.
The possible next speaker says that he wants him to go with him. So is he going to?
So look, he's been there. He's been to the border. And since he took office.
When did he go to the border?
But that's not how it works. Like we actually no.
I know that that's not what you guys want to happen, but that is what has happened.
But that's not. It's not like somebody walks over and that's not how.
Exactly what's happening.
Well,
thousands of people are walking in a day. Some of them turn themselves over. Some of them are caught. Tens of thousands a week are not. That is what is happening.
It is not that simple. It's not just that people are walking across the border. They want to secure the border. We've been doing that work on our own. The president has done the work to deal with what we're seeing at the border since day one. Because when you look at inflation, when we look at where we are economically, and we are stronger economically than we have been in history. What we saw on January 6th was the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
Yeah. I guess she forgot about Pearl Harbor. I guess she forgot about the times that Democrats, what was the Weather Underground? What was it? The Puerto Rican separatist party, I believe it was, that attacked the Capitol. I guess she did not hear about those. Here's another clip of Karine Jean-Pierre. And then I want to get into some more details and reasoning. And guys, there's some news out there. Obviously, Trump and Musk are going at it. I'm going to get into that. I really think this is a huge mistake. I hope that they get their act together. I'm not a big fan of the big, beautiful bill. I have made that loud and clear, but I do believe that ultimately it's going to need to get passed. I want the Senate to do everything that they can to bring down some cost savings, to make some more cuts. I realize this isn't a spending bill, but they can do more on the SALT deduction. They can do more on Medicaid reform. They can do more when it comes to the Inflation Reduction Act, basically the Green New Deal, in making some cuts. I know they'll have opportunities later on for another bill or more reconciliation down the line. But I do feel like if Republicans don't get this thing passed now, they never will. And I think we're in a heck of a lot of trouble. But I understand Elon Musk's frustration. I think it's a big mistake of the Republican Party to try to shame this guy in public. I think it was a big mistake for him to go back at Trump. I wish they would have worked things out. There's some lies out there, frankly, on both sides. I don't care to get into all of that nonsense. I'm praying that these guys will come back together. These are two great patriots, both President Donald Trump, obviously, and Elon Musk, that I think have done a lot for this country, particularly in the last election cycle. Trump almost losing his life. Elon Musk, the left going after him and trying to destroy his business. These are patriots that I think want a lot of the same things. And I hope to God that they'll work this thing out, that they'll iron this thing out. And at the same time, I do hope that the Senate, they'll look at this House bill, they'll get it passed eventually, but they need to clean it up some. They need to clean it up some. And deficit spending is not good. Everybody knows. I'm sorry. I don't care who's telling you, a Republican or a Democrat. When the Bible tells you that when you have debt, the borrower is slave to the lender. So if you think debt and deficits are good, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. We're in a precarious situation, sadly, even when it comes to the economy. And we're at a point where I do think, sadly, that we have to get this bill passed. I want it cleaned up. And then we'll have some bills down the road that we can make even better. I pray to God that both Elon Musk, I'm not going to get into, I see there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of people that want to get clicks online that I think are just trying to make this thing worse. And these are two great patriots that I think make better allies than foes. So I hope that they'll come back together. All right, having said that, let's get back to the Autopen. Very important topic because I want somebody cuffed. I want somebody perp walked. It's time to see it. Here's former Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. She reveals her own tell-all book about the Biden White House. This is cut number 25. This lady now it's amazing to me a lot. It's amazing to me what's starting to come out about Karine Jean-Pierre. And it's always astonishing to me. People are doing it anonymously. People are saying how bad she was behind the scenes, how unintelligent she was, as if we couldn't see it. But now people are starting to leak the truth about Karine Jean-Pierre when they defended her this entire time. Cut number 25, please, Gabe.
Personally, I think what was the toughest thing to see in the 3 weeks was there was a disconnect for me what was happening with leadership in the Democratic Party and how it was truly, as my former colleague, communications director Ben LeBolt said, it was a firing squad. And I had never seen anything like it before. I'd never seen a party do that in the way that they did. And it was hurtful and sad to see that happening. A firing squad around a person who I believe was a true patriot, a person who I believe did everything that he can for this country, a person who I believe, as I mentioned before, has done more in one term than most presidents had done in 2 terms, historical things. And I was shocked by what I was seeing.
And Karine, just to clarify, these are other Democrats and Democratic leadership coming out against Biden.
Yep, I had never seen anything like that. That was, if you're asking me, the thing that I saw in those 3 weeks, that was shocking. Shocking. And instead of coming together to really be unified and trying to figure out how do we save our democracy, how do we fight back, that's what I was seeing. And, that's what we decided to do for 3 weeks. And, it was truly, truly unfortunate. And I think it hurt us more than I think folks realized to have done that.
And I know we're coming, and thank you so much for your question.
Thank you so much for your question.
I know we're coming up on.
Okay, she's actually not completely wrong. All right, she's talking about the coup that the Democrats staged against the corpse, and that is Joe Biden. She believes that the Democrat Party would have done better had Joe Biden stayed in the race, had they allowed him to stay in the race. Now, she is right as well in saying that he did more in one term than many presidents did in two. I would argue he did more in one term, and that is to destroy the country that most presidents did prior to him. The guy was a complete and utter disaster, and that's because he wasn't there, and he had a team running the White House, and we'll talk about that team next. You're listening to The Carl Jackson Show. As you know, our friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. He didn't stop by simply creating the best pillow. Mike created the best bed sheets ever. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial for my busy schedule. Mike is offering the best deal on his Giza Dream bed sheets. Any size, any color, or just $49.98. That's right. You can get even get queens, kings, split kings, and Cal kings, any size and any color, just $49.98. Order now because when they're gone, they're gone. Also, for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you will receive $100 in free digital gifts. Call 1-800-858-0263. Use the promo code Carl or go to mypillow.com. Make sure you use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L, for the amazing offer of $49.98 on the Giza Dream Sheets, any size and any color. That number again, 1-800-858-0263, promo code Carl. All right. So again, who was running the White House? Who was in charge of the White House? Carl, get past this. Why are you still on this? Are you crazy? We should stay on this subject like stink on boo-boo. We shouldn't go anywhere when it comes to this. Biden was not the president of the United States of America. He was not the president. He was not the man that was running the country, that was running the show. That can never happen again. The left is okay with it because they believe that, listen, the system could run itself. They don't care. But that eliminates you. That circumvents you. That circumvents we the people. It's the same reason I don't like a lot of regulation, because it circumvents the will of the people. I want regular order in Congress. I want our legislators to be involved. I want us to be able to call our legislators, which is why I can't stand the process now where basically all the leaders of the House and the Senate get together and create the bills, and then everybody else gets to sign on to it after they have no time to really go through them. But we need to know who's running the country. I don't want an administrative state running this country. It absolutely stinks. Now, good news. Trump has directed Bundy to probe Biden's use of the Autopen for pardons, the administration's cover up of mental decline. So Trump, this happened earlier in the week, directed AG Pam Bundy to investigate Joe Biden's use of an Autopen to sign presidential pardons and executive orders while his administration covered up his health issues. The order comes as Republicans have been raising questions regarding Biden's frequent use of an Autopen and his declining mental acuity for over a year. So what you'll hear on the news over and over again from the left is, wait a minute. When it comes to presidents, all presidents use the Autopen, and that would be correct. But what you'll see the Autopen for is a letter that goes out, some event or something like that happens, something ceremonial, if you will. But when it comes to executive orders, when it comes to signing legislation, you want to see a John Hancock. As a matter of fact, I think what needs to happen is exactly what Trump did. I think there needs to be a law. If Trump or a president is signing legislation into law, he should do it on camera in front of everybody. There should be a law, or there should be legislation where when it comes to, if it doesn't already exist, when it comes to executive orders, when it comes to legislation, when it comes to budget bills, a president has to sign it. No Autopen whatsoever. And I think that's been the status quo. There's a danger of using that Autopen for just about anything. All right. So the counsel to the president in consultation, this is from Trump, with the attorney general and the head of any other relevant executive department or agency shall investigate to the extent permitted by law whether certain individuals conspired to deceive the public about Biden's mental state and unconstitutionally exercise the authorities and responsibilities of the president, close quote. The memorandum claimed that it was clear Biden's mental cognition was declining in the final stretch of his administration. It was clear that he didn't have the mental capacities to run the White House while he was running for office. His signature still appeared electronically on White House documents that enacted significant policy changes. I'll get to one momentarily. And unprecedented sweeping pardons. Guys, even as bad as the pardons were, when it comes to climate and energy, I want to talk about those particular orders that he signed that he likely had no idea what he was signing. And frankly, it emboldened Russia. So I'll talk about that as well. Quote, this conspiracy marks one of the most dangerous and concerning scandals in American history. The president said the American public was purposely shielded from discovering who wielded the executive power, all while Biden's signature was deployed across thousands of documents to affect radical policy shifts. And he's not lying. He's not wrong. Again, here's a summary. This from Red State. What was that from? That was from Just the News. This from Red State. The DOJ launching this bombshell investigation into Biden pardons. Let me just give you a little bit of information from here. So Ed Martin, a pardon attorney and head of the DOJ's weaponization task force, again, launched an official investigation into Joe Biden's pardons. In the waning days of his failed presidency. Martin will delve into the question of whether Biden was, quote, competent and whether others were taking advantage of him through use of the Autopen or other means. And I believe they were. The focus of the bombshell investigation will be, again, on the sweeping pardons granted to members of the family. It will also encompass 37 individuals who had death row sentences that were converted to life imprisonment. Joe Biden, again, 48 hours before Trump was sworn in as president, issued preemptive pardons on a full and unconditional basis for his family members. He did the same thing for Hunter Biden a month earlier. And now inquiring minds are asking a good question. Was it Hunter Biden that used the Autopen to sign his own pardon? All right. It's absolutely insane. Here's some of the people that Ed Martin was on a podcast recently. I believe it was with Mark Halperin. And he said, quote, I had a whistleblower in my office 10 days ago. And this was probably close to this was several days ago. But he said then 10 days ago, senior Democrat, he said, saying, look, it was these three people that controlled access and they were making money off of it. So who were those people? Here were the gatekeepers. He called them gatekeepers. Martin named the three gatekeepers. Martin noted that he had yet to corroborate the whistleblower's claims, but did mention these gatekeepers who were using the access to their advantage. And that was former White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain, who claimed, listen, when he came back, remember, he prepped Biden for that debate performance in June. That was a complete and utter debacle. And he said Biden was so far gone at that point. He admitted to Jake Tapper, who ironically couldn't ask those questions before Biden lost the election, or Kamala Harris. Same thing, basically. She was running on his policies, lost the election, but got the courage to somehow ask 200 people close to Biden these questions afterwards. Also, so you got Ron Klain, you got Biden's senior advisor, Anita Dunn, who's basically a communist. She may even be, well, she's basically a communist. You have a former personal attorney for Barack Obama, Robert Bauer. Why would Barack Obama's personal attorney be in Joe Biden's inner circle? Gatekeepers. Barack Obama's personal attorney, a gatekeeper around Joe Biden. You think Obama knew that Biden was mentally incapacitated? Of course he knew. Of course he knew. And we saw him usher the corpse off the stage at that fundraiser with who's that actor that tried to pretend like he didn't know, and it was a shock, and now all of a sudden they had to get him out. George Clooney. All right, then Martin proceeded to name two others he described as dominant characters, a guy by the name of Steve Ricchetti. He's a former counselor to President Biden, and obviously Jill Biden. And obviously Jill Biden allowed her husband to be used because she liked the lifestyle. There's no doubt about it. Gallivanting around the world, being put on magazines, with ugly dresses that she would have never been put on the cover of. Again, and critics have also speculated that Hunter Biden was basically operating as a chief of staff and controlling things behind the scenes. This is absolutely scandalous. Now, there was an article from Breitbart that I think is very important. The head of the pro-American energy watchdog group, founder of Power to the Future, says his investigation into several former Joe Biden's climate-related executive actions uncover, quote, criminal and evil, quote unquote, evidence that members of the White House acted without presidential authorization while he was in mental decline. So the nonprofit released a report last week revealing that at least 8 major actions taken by Biden were signed via Autopen. All right. And this was, again, with Breitbart. This is Daniel Turner from Power. What is it? Power of the Future, including the January 6th offshore drilling ban and the March 2023 Arctic drilling ban. So you had a bunch of radicals that were into the Green New Deal, likely signing orders, executive orders to stop drilling, to make your lives more expensive, to make life harder for you. This is absolutely insane. A March 2025 report from the Heritage Foundation's Oversight Project found that, quote, every document we could find with Biden's signature over the course of his presidency, quote unquote, besides the one announcing the end of his re-election campaign, had the same Autopen signature. Matt Boyle, that hosted this podcast, said, I get so angry when I have these conversations about this because I deal with the people whose livelihoods were destroyed. It takes a lot of effort to not curse and be profane because what they did to the American people is just not criminal. It's evil. Actually, this is what Turner said. He said, it's genuinely morally reprehensible, the damage that we did, that we continue to do to the American people, all because we're worried about Donald Trump. He talked about when you ban the export of liquid natural gas. He listened to this. What we did was we forced Russia to sell more of their natural gas to the Turks, to the South Koreans. Is it any wonder now that you've got a leftist in office in South Korea? To other countries who just ignored the ban of Russian fossil fuels, and then the French and the Germans and the Italians just bought it from media Tories. So we impacted wars. These people signing, using the Autopen. You want to know why there's a war in Russia and Ukraine? Whoever was behind that Autopen. Guys, this is something that we cannot let up on. I mean, so much more that I'll share with you in the future when it comes to this story. But we've got to stick on this story like pit bulls. Somebody or many bodies need to go to jail. Until next time, don't go where you're doing good. God bless you.